Europe, 1940. Hitler's ruthless quest to extend Germany's borders has his people at war with the world. The mobilization of armies by Britain and France proves no deterrent as the Nazis invade their European neighbors to the north and west, while extending their reach eastward towards Russia's critical oil fields. By fall, Germany's lightning war to soften England is launched, and America increases production, racing to aid the British. By 1941, the battle for North Africa is on, as Rommel's Africa Corps arrives in Tripoli. On the Eastern Front, an impatient Hitler breaks his pact with the Soviets. Stalin responds with a scorched earth policy, intent on leaving only ruins for the Nazi invaders. But one by one, his cities fall. Now, in 1942, massive German air raids commence against Stalingrad, and the battle for this noble city turns vicious. The Red Army refuses to retreat, and a counteroffensive is launched against a force that now stretches from the Volga to the Atlantic and deep into the African desert. Against impossible odds, millions come forward to answer the call of their countries, their families, their lives.
My name is Alexander Sokolov. I thought I was safe. As a watchmaker's apprentice, I would learn the business, then open a shop of my own. Maybe get married, have children, start a life. But now our cities are under attack, and Stalingrad will put an end to those dreams. We should have known the Germans would turn on us, break the treaty. They have no honor. The commissars rounded us up so quickly, speaking of the motherland, the sacrifices of our brothers, our duty. I'm only 20, but I'm ready to fight to the death. The sight of my home Stalingrad infuriates me. It is as if hell itself were burning.
Here we are on a boat.
Welcome to Stalingrad. You're about to begin the greatest moment of your life. The Germans have lost hundreds of tanks and planes. Hitler's brutalized hordes are now advancing towards Stalingrad over mountains of their own dead bodies. Our Bolshevik party, our nation, our great country have given us the task not to let the enemy reach the Volga and to defend the city of Stalingrad. Forward against the enemy, up into the unremitting battle, comrades! For Stalingrad, for our great country, not one step back! Cowards and traitors will be shot! Do not count days! Do not count miles! Count only the number of Germans you have killed! Kill the German! This is your mother's prayer! Kill the German! This is the cry of your Russian earth! Do not waver! Do not let up! Kill! Death to the German invader! Let's move! Go, go! Move! The first is killed! The second takes the right move! Get off the boat!
Well everyone, welcome to the Call of Duty Finest Hour Hard Mode Challenge. I mentioned this in the intro that the challenge consists of me playing Call of Duty Finest Hour, one of the most notable Call of Duties in the Call of Duty franchise, and to the community as one of the hardest Call of Duties of all time, on the hardest difficulty available, which is only hard. This is way before they added veteran and many other difficulties, so on and so forth.
We're expected at the front lines.
Now, do not mind the aspect ratio, as I did fix it in my PCSX2 emulator settings. The aspect ratio is kind of odd currently due to that fact, and I recently just fixed this now, so all the footage will look according to what it is. I would like to also dive into like the controls for the game, because I recently just found out that the controls based on the PlayStation port that I'm playing as, because there was an Xbox port, but I played the PlayStation one because that was easy to emulate. The PlayStation port controls, I'm not sure if they apply to the Xbox version, but for the PlayStation port, left and right bumper, or L1, R1, is to aim and shoot. Left trigger is to throw a grenade, or L2. Right trigger, R2, is to shoot. D-pad left and down, I'm not too sure what they do. I don't recall what they did, but they really weren't really important after doing a redo and testing the game at some point. Up on D-pad is to heal yourself and allies. We have medkits. Right is to switch weapons. And if you aim and press the D-pad buttons left and right, you lean. As for the other controls, X is to interact, or A in this case is to interact. Y or triangle is to jump. B or circle is to crouch, and obviously X/square is to reload. Simple controls, kind of odd, but hey, it is what it is. I'd also like to mention too that this is the campaign that I had 3 deaths in. I thought I had 4, but doing some further research into my footage, I found out I only had 3, because I remember I did a test run of the final mission, which was Operation Little Saturn for the Eastern campaign. And the Eastern campaign's final mission, when I did a test run of that, I died once, and that was because I got a little greedy trying to take out a tiger tank. But after a little while, it wasn't that bad. It was perfectly fine afterwards. And after I did the actual recording, I didn't die at all. And it was pretty easy to, get through. Nothing too bad. The campaign really isn't that hard, I will say the least. Oh, and do not mind the weird frame rate spiking every once in a while. That's just the emulator being weird, the game itself.
The fascists are here in the refinery.
I'm
need to flush them out.
pretty not sure why that's the case, but hey, it is what it is. And this is the part where we actually get a gun and start shooting, because one of our allies gets blasted and he drops his rifle. And here we are with the rifle, just taking guys out one by one. Now the shooting feels nice, but we're gonna soon get to one of the complaints I have with the game so far. It has nothing to do with the graphics or anything like that. It has to do with the decals, mostly. Controls are fine, everything is fine. I didn't really have much of a problem playing this, but it's the second I pick up a MP40 is when I see my most notable and most annoying issue that I have with this game. And it is the muzzle flashes, as you'll see soon. The muzzle flashes are just so big, and they get in the way of shooting, that later on down the campaigns, or most of the campaign in general, you'll see me using scoped weapons, or in some cases hip firing, or leading my shots and tap firing as much as I can, because the muzzle flash is just outrageous. And it gets on my nerves every time I try to use any automatic gun, because I can't see what I'm shooting at when the muzzle flash is blocking a majority of the screen.
Explosive! Stand back! This way, comrade!
That's also the reason why I went back to using a rifle for a second.
Forward, comrades! Defend your mother! Get to the German invasion!
Kind of confuses me how our sergeant knows a better way in, yet he didn't even do a good examination. But then again, he's probably lived around this area, so he knows a good route.
Take out the machine gun! alive, comrade! I'm impressed! Follow me!
And this is where I get my first hard mode achievement. Alright, that wasn't so hard. I say that, and that's probably gonna get blown into my face. This is me talking about how that mission wasn't too hard at first, and yet I've yet to see what's going to happen in the Western campaign. Because these videos were recorded, I think, a month prior. So... And the reason why it took me long to edit is because I had to do the voiceovers, and I had to make sure that the audio is correct and such.
Mamiev Kurgan is just ahead. But first we need to flush the Germans out of this building. Give us the signal to go. Go, go, go! Open the door! I'll cover you!
Now this is the first mission where I actually died. This was where I experienced my first death. The next mission where I play as the tank commander, that I got at least 2 deaths on his segment because I kept overextending and not realizing who I was to target and shoot. But that's only like the first 2 missions in his campaign, part of the campaign. Meanwhile, the last mission with him in it was not too bad.
German sniper! Look out, comrade!
There you are. I've been hunting that bastard all day. I'm sorry you lost your sergeant, comrade. We won't let your sacrifice go to waste. I've got a new job for you. The fascists are using the view from that bunker to call in artillery strikes all over the city. We can't take back Stalingrad unless we control that bunker. You lead the men up the hill. Start by taking out the machine guns in those pillboxes. Stick to the trenches. I'll keep you covered from here. That Nazi flag must fall.
And I get my first taste of using MPPSH, which is a really good SMG. Although its recoil is a bit much, and then you'll see also my biggest complaint with that gun, with the game, in that gun. Like, shine brighter than most other guns that I use. So far, I do love the bolt action rifles more, in fact that they're pretty much a one-shot most of the time. And the iron sights are actually really good. As you can see with the fully automatic burst of the PPSH, I'm just getting an entire cross of muzzle flash that blocks the majority of my screen. This is also the mission, aside from my first death, where I actually find out that there's actually secondary objectives that you can get achievements for. even on hard mode, that add to the retro achievements achievement counter. Which I didn't know about at first, but you live and you learn when you play it hard. After taking out these pillboxes, one thing that went through in my head was, if this is the hardest Call of Duty, what's this? Well, one of the hardest Call of Duties. Is there like a conjoined list of the hardest Call of Duties of all time when it comes to playing on the hardest difficulty? Now I know Veteran's a different story. In fact, that Veteran is the difficulty after hard, which is supposed to be hard in all the new Call of Duty games. But I just wanted to know, like, what are the hardest ones in general on the list to try and complete on the highest difficulty possible. And this is why I found this MG42, which I was like, oh cool, an MG42. I'll give this a go. Yeah, I mentioned that when I first played this mission, I never really found that. And this is where my first death happened, because I totally ignored that German soldier not realizing. As I said, not realizing that he was one of the German soldiers, a Nazi in that case. Because literally, I just walked past him, and he just slapped the absolute dog crap out of me. And that was mostly due to the fact that aside from not paying attention, but like I think due to the fact that I'm using an OLED screen from my Steam Deck, the colors kind of got a little mixed up visually for me. So I thought he was one of ours, and due to the fact that his helmet was blending in with the background, it didn't look like he was wearing a helmet. So I just thought he was one of ours. He ended up getting me at that point. Also, a big indicator to let you guys know that I'm actually playing on hard for this game is the amount of medkits I can carry. On easier difficulties, if I recall, you can carry more than 3 medkits, but on hard, you can only carry 2, which is a significant limit, especially if you're trying to keep allies alive and yourself. I try to make sure that I at least have one medkit on me at all times during my playthrough. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a world of hurt, and to use cover more often, and the leaning mechanic. But I don't use the leaning mechanic too much because it leaves you sitting still. I prefer the peekaboo method, where you just aim and then you move your character to the side to see what you're looking at. This is where I decided to say screw the PPSH. I'm actually going to go with the MG42. Considering the fact that I wanted to know what it's like. And plus I died, so I wanted to see what it was like in general. But here's a mechanic that I didn't see much in any Call of Duties at all. Except for the newest ones. And it's the overall fact that if you go prone and you press a specific button, I'm pretty sure it's either down or left, I'm not sure. But if you go prone and press a specific button on your controller, you will actually use the bipod on the gun. Which surprised me because this was a mechanic in this game, yet every other Call of Duty up until 2019, Modern Warfare 2019, like the bipod was just there to reduce recoil and that's it, didn't do much. But seeing a character actually set up the bipod is actually really cool. In fact, you get laser aim with it too, like literally no recoil, no nothing. And also, look at the muzzle flash on this gun. It's not even that bad compared to the other guns. While I did like using this gun, I did have to put it away eventually because I did run out of ammo for it. Also, it was also the weird thing, I pick up this gun and I'm like, why am I already out of ammo for it when literally I just got it? And then I realized, oh, the rest of the soldiers don't have an MP40. So I just picked up a random PPSH and went with it. Me personally, I do like the fact that this game is more of a, how do I say it, more of a health giving kind of thing. No regenerating health, no nothing. It's just you need to use med kits that you can find, either the small circular ones that heal instantly or the ones you have to use on hand, because it actually gives a sense of challenge and also lets you know how skilled you are when it comes to trying to survive in a situation like this. Kind of glad that I figured out how melee functions. And this is the part where I almost died again, because I stuck my head out for a little too long and then my health started to drop hard. It's also due to the fact that one of my allies got in the way and I couldn't shoot something for a second. And that's that mission done. We knocked the Nazi flag down and we're good to go.
Well done, comrade. It looks like I found myself a new spot.
And we also get a hard mode achievement along with it. And the next mission is when we play as Tanya. And funny, I like there's an achievement to complete all optional objectives without dying. Yeah, I had to and yet I throw that information out there exactly because I was like, why was that a thing? I literally died that mission, yet I managed to get it. It didn't say fail or anything like that either. I managed to get that achievement.
My name is Tanya Pavlovna. We had little idea the Nazi invasion had pushed as far as our village until the night we awoke to the sound of tank tracks grinding in the distance. Tank shells sent my neighbors scurrying for cover, and in the chaos I was separated from my parents. The next day I was rescued by soldiers with the Red Army. I was 25. During my first skirmish our squad was cut down, and I escaped into a collapsed building, where I took a sniper rifle off the body of a fallen comrade. My father's voice guided my aim as I cut down my first 4 Germans with that rifle. My skill was reported to HQ and I was assigned as a sniper and sent to Stalingrad. I've been hunting Germans ever since. They took my family and my home, and I intend to take their lives.
This is the first mission we get to play as Tanya, as I said. Funny thing about this, I thought I didn't record this mission. I literally thought I didn't.
You've got a clear shot. What are you waiting for?
An explosion. We need something to cover the sound of the rifle.
And if I shoot enough of these Germans, they'll send a tank to come looking for us. Then we'll need to cover our sapper on the street so he can place a landmine in its path.
This is it. Always try to shoot the officers first. Let's relocate.
And the reason why I thought I didn't record this mission is when I was looking through my footage, for some reason I didn't get any, like, I kept looking through, and when I got to the end of, like, the footage tab for this video, it's the fact that how do I put it into words? I looked at the end and I noticed that I got slight footage of me going through the next mission that you play as Tanya, the tank defense mission, which threw me off because I thought, like, oh, I must have accidentally skipped that mission and didn't record the previous one. No, it's just that footage was there on accident, and I didn't pause the recording in time whenever I did that, compared to the other clips you'll see eventually. Also, for some reason, I perfected all of Tanya's missions, like, no deaths, and I didn't have much of an issue when it came to her campaign. I did have some close calls, like taking like a chunk of damage and almost dying from it, but all in all, I managed to completely go through it without much issue. We're just trying to see where the last guy went. There he is. I had no idea you shoot those guys early.
Germans are advancing on our tank depot at the old tractor factory. Come with me.
I just noticed in this that you can only carry two. I've been repeating my statement about the medkit thing. Since you can only carry 2 medkits, that makes things a bit more difficult, especially for anybody who wants to do this challenge by themselves, which is pretty simple. All you need to do is play the game on art. That's it. And make sure you go into the settings and set it to hard, because it's not one of those start a new campaign and then you pick a difficulty. No, you have to go to your settings and swap with the hard. It's automatically on medium for any new players. And I've yet to mention from my friends who played this game before, they could barely finish this game. As a matter of fact, one friend said that literally they tried beating this game. Oh yeah, that's that when I was playing on. I never really heard that statement to be. It same effect to some other games like Halo and such, where you hear certain things depending on what you do. But as I was saying, one of my friends played this game on the easiest difficulty, which is just easy, and even he couldn't get past the British campaign. Like, literally, the British campaign is only 4 missions long. Literally, the Western campaign is only 4 missions long, and yet people say that's the hardest ever missions to go through. And then the second hardest has to be the America campaign. But that's mostly due to the fact that the Americans dealt with the brunt of some of the stuff that was happening, like Normandy and stuff like that. The technical most difficult, like, moments for the Americans at the time during World War II. I say technical because every other side of the world dealt with something equally as terrible. especially for the Russians on their side when they got betrayed, but still just as horrible. This mission wasn't really too bad. I would say one thing that literally, like, some of the
Back here.
enemies were being very cheeky when it comes to hiding.
It's so weird that this game required you to use the L1 and R1, or in this case, the bumpers as aim and shoot.
I say that, and then I realized that probably we're trying to be versatile when it comes to the mechanics of a shooter, compared to playing on Xbox where you only have 2 triggers, and every other button under the sun. Which also means, what would be... that also, like, actually kind of puts an interesting thought in my head, because this was on the original Xbox, as well, along with PlayStation 2. So, if L1, R1 is the aim and shoot, and then right triggers for melee, and left triggers for grenade, what would the grenade button and melee button be for Xbox? Let alone the fact that, do they have to swap some controls around just for the Xbox players? Because now that I think about it, you have the black and white buttons on the Xbox controller, even the Duke controller. So what I'm thinking is probably to let the
Jump up a little bit.
black and white control buttons were probably, maybe if I'm correct, grenade and weapon switch. But then you have the D-pad though. D-pad could be grenade because you can still look while pressing the D-pad buttons, because there is a D-pad. Not entirely sure though, now that I think about it.
Let's say peek your head out again. Getting away, please.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at the original Xbox controller, and like the Duke, and to be fairly honest, when they even with the repositioning of the black and white buttons and the pause button and such, I'm not seeing even way to
That had to be the weirdest quick shot
use
I've ever done in
grenades
my
and
life.
stuff and switch weapons and stuff. Also, in my opinion, the Duke controller looks adorable, especially with the buttons being canted to the side. But I'm actually kind of glad they swapped out the positionings and everything, because, geez, I can imagine how painful it is to try and do anything on the controller with as big as it is. Now that I think about it, we do have a select and start button on the controller. Why'd they do away with the black and white button? Oh, because the replacement for bumpers. Never mind. Because the original Xbox controllers never had bumpers.
The trench to the factory should be around here somewhere.
Also, another thing that I've noticed that when I'm watching the pre-recorded footage here, it's going to look different on your guys' end. But seeing it on my end here, with the footage in general, like just watching the video outright, it's very saturated, and the brightness is like heavily reduced. That might be due to the resolution I have it squinted right now on my screen, but it's just that brighter colors are a lot brighter, and certain other colors are darker, like extremely dark. I don't know if it's like the OLED screens the Steam Deck has, or maybe it's due to the fact that at the time of me recording this, I was playing with nighttime mode on, but then again, that can't be the case, because I don't see a tint of orange on most of the stuff on screen.
Peak condition. As high as I can.
So, to be fairly honest, I'm not seeing much of an issue. And right here is the part where literally I ended up being a complete and utter goober, and I accidentally jumped off the edge of the platform here and just took a chunk of damage. Fortunately, it wasn't enough to kill me, but it did get my heart to race a little bit.
I'll die from fall damage.
And that's the end of this. I'll see you guys in the next segment.
Incoming mortars! Keep your head down!
Alright, here we are with the mission that I perfected on accident. I will have to honestly say that it's kind of funny how I managed to perfect this mission, solely because of the fact that, like, getting to the factory was pretty easy, because really nothing happens, but things start to get a little wild once we actually start, you know, shooting once we get inside the factory. The thing is that if you're a first-time player like me, this mission at first seems like a daunting task, especially considering the fact that, one, I'm playing this on hard, and two, your objective is to snipe the Germans and prevent them from getting to the tank. Which you can see in the top right corner of the screen, there's the health bar. This entire mission, me not knowing that I was just straight up shooting. I did not care. I was on point with majority of my shots too for some reason. Like, I was hard focused in this mission. I don't know what it was, or I don't know like what caused me to actually become this accurate, or just straight up just hitting everything I see without much issue. But I just ended up just literally locking in so hard. And that's also another thing. To prevent the damage from the tank, you need to actually stop the Germans with the Panzerschrecks that are making their way towards you. Later on, there will be duo German squads that have MG42s, and I think when they add that placement, then it starts to become a lot difficult to actually snipe. Because I remember correctly that, now that I'm looking at the footage, there was an MG42 placement near those sandbags on the destroyed car. I must have not made it in time to stop one of the troops that had the machine gun. And then they ended up placing it there, which caused me to take a lot of damage later on down the line. Literally all 5 shots were confirmed kills. Like, I didn't even give a single German a chance to even cross half the tracks. which is funny because at first, as I said, I thought this mission was going to be difficult. But no, it was relatively easy. And then again, as I said, this is on the hardest difficulty available. AKA hard. As a matter of fact, as I said in the beginning of the intro for, like, the introduction for this challenge, that there is no harder mode for this game. There's no veteran, no like secret difficulty mode after you beat the campaign. That's it. I did some research before I actually started, and the only thing that I know is that aside from there not being any other difficulties after hard mode, or beating the campaign, there really isn't any like anything else other than multiplayer, and there also isn't any like special secrets that you can find. And aside from campaign information, all I know is that as soon as I'm finished with the Eastern Front, literally the Western campaign is going to be a pain in the ass. Because I've heard a lot of people on Reddit. I don't do a lot of research on Reddit because Reddit can be a very distrustful place. Trust me. I went on there countless times to look things up, and people just kept giving wrong information, and I just kept wondering what the hell is their problem. But aside from that, I went on Reddit, and the general consensus about this game is that literally once you hit the British campaign and the US campaign, things start to get difficult, like very difficult, to the point where literally it's not worth it. Playing on hard is a death sentence, and I'm starting to wait until it gets to that point. And I did mention before, I did die at least 3 times on the Eastern Russian campaign. One of those deaths went on accident, as you saw before. The last 2 were just straight up me misjudging my strength for the upcoming campaign missions after this one. Because as soon as you're done with this mission, you're done playing as Tanya. You just move on to a different character altogether. You get to play as Alexander for 2 missions, and then you play as Tanya for 2, and then you play as the other guy for 2, which is an even playing field. It gives all the characters more like time based off of everything else I've seen. Here I am, just picking off all the stragglers I can see. Another thing I would like to mention about this game is that for a PS2 game, another World War II Call of Duty on the PS2, this game does not look bad. The only thing that, as I said, that I just didn't like about the game was the very awkward controls at first, and then I got used to them, and the fact that the game, like, at times runs like straight, like, butt cheeks in certain missions and certain moments. Like, as I said, one moment you'll be getting at least like 60 plus frames. Next thing you know, you go one direction, you're dropping all the way down to 30, 25, and it's kind of outrageous, but it is what it is. You just gotta deal with it. Also, I think I remember one of the missions. Like, I think later on down the line, I tried one of the Panzer Shreks, and they're not that great. Like, I didn't use it on a tank or anything, mostly due to the fact that there were no other tanks on the field for me to shoot at. I used it... Actually, no, I think I did use it on the tank. I think it took, like, only 2 shots, but I'm not too sure. I don't remember. Once we get to that point, I'll remember. But... the dang tank literally just... I don't know. The dang Panzer Shrek just feels like it doesn't do a lot of damage, at least to me. Like ballistic weapons have more oomph compared to the explosive weapons, at least in my opinion. The grenades are overpowered, though. I remember I cleared out an entire room with just 1 frag on accident. And that was because I just wanted to clear it out and I didn't want to just waste ammo. I'm not too sure if the difficulty applies to the game time, too, because you have to survive this for 10 minutes. And literally, like, because when I popped in here, it said 9 minutes, so I'm like assuming it's 10, but literally the entire, like, the entire literal fight of this entire defense, I'm not too sure if, like, depending on the difficulty, does the time, like, get shortened or something like that? Oh, and this is the part where I'm so confused. I was like, how many Germans are left? I don't see anybody here. All I see is Germans coming from the right side. Yeah, those MG42 guys are extremely dangerous. At first, when I started playing this, I thought I was gonna die the entire mission because I was concerned that I just kept neglecting the MG42 guys. Well, at least that guy to the left side. Everyone else was being dealt with. And there's one of those moments where I literally almost died. If I didn't pop both my medkits at that time, I would have probably gotten shredded by the MG42 guy.
Tanya, Germans on the left. More Panzer Shreks to the left.
That shot, I didn't know how I managed to get. I was just fired and hoped for the best, and it somehow hit him. I guess the bullets aren't really hit scan. They do actually have travel time, which is actually kind of interesting, considering the fact that this game is how old? That just puts into perspective how, like, far and how not so far we've come when it comes to gaming and game development. Literally, this game has bullet travel time, even though you can't really see it or anything like that. It's just surprising. You usually need to shoot at least one of those guys, and then you're good to go. I usually shoot the guy who's carrying the gun, because the guy carrying the ammo doesn't really matter.
Machine gun on the right. Tanya, Germans on the left.
Every time he says Germans on our left, I don't see any Germans. I just see guys coming from the right side. I don't know if Alexander's very clairvoyant or he's just saying that just to let me know, hey, head to the left side whenever you have a chance. And then I think this is also the part where I realized maybe he's not saying Germans on the left side because they're coming from the left side. They're going to the left side.
Enemy tank. Panzer IV, get back from the windows.
Oh yeah, this is the part where literally this whole defense segment is over. I have to literally get away from the windows because the tank is on its way.
Tanya, the commissar needs us on the ground floor.
I should at least like get rid of it. Yep, there you go. That's the achievement for completing stand your ground on hard without the tank taking any damage. I don't know why I was shooting at the frickin' our tank crew, because I was just so used to the officers wearing black. I guess I just figured that it was that was the situation, but no, it wasn't. At first I figured I had to do something, but no, I didn't have to. It was more the fact that I had to wait for these guys to get across. And then this is also the moment where it teaches you how to heal teammates with medkits.
I feel much better now.
And also, fun fact, I had 0 medkits, they gave me one. And as soon as I hop on the tank, that's the end of that mission. Like, it wasn't really that hard, to be honest. And there goes finishing that mission normally and beating it on hard. Here's an introduction to a new character we're going to be playing as.
My name is Nikolai Badanov.
I'm not gonna lie, his missions are rather interesting.
Soviet Union, I left my wife and newborn son in the care of my parents and joined the Red Army. Having been a mechanic in Leningrad for years, it was no surprise I was assigned to the 24th Tank Corps. I live for the day we grind Berlin beneath our tracks. Perhaps it's this aggressiveness that won me my own tank crew and assignment in Stalingrad. While my crew and I are like family, there's another comrade who I'll be tied to forever. Her name is Tanya Pavlovna, and she saved our skins as we escaped in the last surviving T-34 after an assault on an old factory near Volgograd. But our tank soon had engine trouble, and the smoke plume was giving away our position. So we found what looked to be a safe place to make repairs.
I always wonder what happened to Alexander literally after that whole entire defense segment. Did he stay behind or something like that?
Engine trouble?
Tanya, you and Alexander find some high ground and watch for the enemy.
We'll do what we can, Nikolai.
And Fyodor, let's get that tank fixed now.
Oh,
Yes,
never
sir.
mind. Alexander is perfectly fine. I mean, it's been a minute since I actually heard these missions, mostly due to the fact that when these videos were made, like, I think like a month ago, and I have been sitting on them for the time being until the time is right. And this is actually the first time we actually get a different weapon other than the Mosin and the PPSH. We got the DP. Don't know the number designation, but this dang thing is amazing. It's accurate, does great damage, has a big magazine, and also it's a literal dinner plate gun. Come on. What's not to love about the dinner plate gun? As you can see, I'm suffering to actually get the hits because of the muzzle flash. Hence why I'm burst firing.
Enemy tank! Tank support!
And this is the part that actually got me concerned about Tanya. And then I was like, wait, excuse me, Dimitri, what the heck are you doing?
Give him hell! Ready, comrades! Let's go! Nikolai, hurry! Get in the tank!
Attention all tank commanders. Your command of Stalingrad for regrouping. Report to command headquarters immediately.
Now, at the same time as I'm playing this mission, I didn't realize how impressive this whole moment is. Like, literally, you have armored assault combat. Literally, you're literally in a tank. And at first, some people will be like, oh, being in a tank isn't that interesting? Isn't that, like, you know, something to be so excited about? But the problem is that this is a game on the PS2 and original Xbox that had this level of detail. I mean, not only do you get a machine gun, but you get the main cannon. You get to actually play it in first and third person, and there's a button-up view. Basically, a view where literally you can just literally poke your head out, and you can just literally unbutton so that you'll be able to just see what's ahead of you. And I thought that was cool, but then I realized, oh shoot, I shouldn't be doing that as tank commander and getting literally just destroyed. And this is the part where I actually experienced my actual first death in this set of missions. Solely due to the fact that I wasn't hard focusing on the Panzerschrecks, nor was I focusing on the tanks properly. Like, I was getting hit hard. Now, you probably could have said, you probably could have just sat still and let the tank regen its health. And I'm like, yeah, that would have been a great idea, but for some reason, I didn't do that. It also didn't help the fact that the enemy tanks were pre-firing me heavily. Actually, I think I died twice in this mission. Because not only was getting hit by Panzerschrecks, but I was trying to deal with that tank, and then I didn't realize there was a tank behind me blowing me to pieces. Not to mention, I kept trying to figure out why is the machine gun not working on any of the small fries that are in the building, and come to find out, I actually need to blow up the buildings itself. And here's me thinking that literally the tanks don't explode unless I hit them more. Which is not the case. Once they're on fire, they're not, like, usable anymore. And they can't do anything. Yep, and that's death number 2. Which starts you all the way back at the repair segment.
Incoming! Everyone down!
But for some reason the guy was very quiet. And then now.
German infantry!
Hurry!
I wanted to help that troop so bad, but due to the fact that he was in a way, I just couldn't. I'm not too sure if this was the start of the friendly fire will not be tolerated situation where you can end up shooting your teammates.
Enemy tank! Tanks are forward!
I also never realized that literally it only takes like at least one shot to take those guys, take any enemy out.
Tanya! Tanya! Can you hear me? Man lost. He's cutting right for us. Find cover! Move! It's one of ours. Give him help. You ready, comrades? Let's go! Nikolai, hurry!
Attention all tank commanders. You're to move out of Stalingrad for regrouping. Report to command headquarters immediately.
I don't know what I was trying to do there. I was trying to see what it was like to look at the button-up view again. Unbutton view again. Also, over time as I've played video games, I realized the reason why hit markers are so important in video games nowadays. It's just to confirm if you're actually hitting the target. Because I know in these old games you could be just trying to shoot something and there's just no confirmation at all. And then you tend to just get upset and then go, why the hell am I not hitting this target? And then all of a sudden hit marker lets you know, oh, okay, I am hitting him, it's just that's not doing him a lot of damage. Now some games have a way of telling you how much damage you're doing to a target via visual cues, like if they get stunned or a certain part of their body starts glowing and stuff like that. I personally much prefer the kill markers than hit markers. Because the kill markers let you know if you confirm the kill, especially if it's a game that you know you're hitting your target no matter what you're doing. That's probably the reason why I'm so used to Halo's combat. Literally, you're so used to just hitting things off rip with your gun that when something dies, you either the kill marker or you don't, you just watch it die. Also probably the reason why a lot of people play Call of Duty on Veteran, especially the newer ones, where literally they just get rid of all the bells and whistles on screen and all you have is your gun and like your knowledge of the game. That's about it. I don't know how I got a hit marker with like hitting him from behind. That should be no way. The amount of troops and destruction when riding around the tank is so much fun. You see, right there, I thought that was some BS. Like, that Panzer guy is literally right in front of me. That Panzer Shrek guy is right in front of me, and yet for some darned reason, like, I couldn't hit him. He took a tank shell and, like, nearly a crap ton of rounds from their machine gun. And this is the part where I was so confused, I was like, what do I do here? Is there a place to park or something? Almost died there because I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Let's say screw it, let me just clear this place out because there's still more Germans douching about. Might as well clear this place out while I can. So I don't end up getting freaking destroyed trying to get out. Yeah, at first I was so confused. I'm like, what do I do here? Do I just pop out? Then I realized, oh, I gotta park the tank.
Ah, Lieutenant, follow me. Watch your side. General Bellow, sir. Tank Commander Lieutenant Nikolai Bedenov to see you.
Lieutenant, the situation is grave. We've been holding back the German advance with the Katyusha rockets. However, our forward observer's radio has stopped working, and we are no longer receiving firing coordinates. Their last report said the fascists were massing armor and preparing to overrun this headquarters. The observers are in the train station tower on the other side of Red Square. Take a replacement radio and get it over to that tower before the Germans make their next move. Dismissed.
Wounded soldier coming.
And this is where my worries were put down.
Glad to see you made it, Nikolai.
Seeing Chanya's still
That tank
alive.
destroyer nearly buried us alive.
You'd better go, Lieutenant. We'll take care of her.
Good luck, comrade.
Yeah. Which also confirms that Alexander's also alive too. And that's the end of that mission, surprisingly. There's also the reason why I thought it was the same mission, because literally the next mission after this is literally after that frickin' segment. Which threw me off at first, so I figured, like, wait, this is the same damn mission. Why are we doing some more stuff? Like, why is it not in one full thing? And I did have to take into fact, oh, it's a PS2 game. There probably wasn't a lot of data on the disc for a mission that long, so. And this is the actual third death on the list. Originally, I did have 4. The final mission of the Eastern campaign, I had 4 deaths in total. However, it actually was a test run that I was doing on the next mission because I wanted to see it was, and then I realized something was wrong with my recording, so I decided to go back in and try again, and then yeah, I didn't die at all during that mission, which was a big surprise. I always thought this part was actually relatively cool. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but I did get it after I died. Oh, and by the way, I did realize that running over troops would kill them, but it didn't count as friendly fire, so I guess he just got shot before anything else. But this happened after I died, but I didn't realize that you could actually prevent that statue from falling. how you're supposed to do it is that if you're fast enough, you can probably destroy the panzers before they do any more damage. Or better yet, you have to literally just destroy the panzers. I thought it was also destroy the gunners as well in the building, but no, it was really just to destroy the panzers. If I recall, I believe my third death was literally right around this corner. Like, I got sandwiched between, I think, 2 panzers, and I was getting bombarded by panzer strikes at the same time. So I ended up taking a ton of unnecessary damage, which got me killed. Yeah, there was a panzer strike behind me, then you had 2 panzers sandwiching me, and it was GG's. There was no way I was getting out of that alive. Fortunately, though, this mission, just like the previous one, was rather short. It's the final mission of the Eastern campaign that's relatively long, which surprisingly I got no deaths on, which actually perplexed me at first, because I thought that I was like gonna die again, because when I did that one video that I had to scrap because I had to go do something like right after, I thought I was gonna have to count that if I had to go through, or I was gonna die again, but no, apparently I didn't. Apparently I learned my lesson just enough so I didn't die for a 4th time. Just goes to show how relatively easy the Eastern campaign is. And the fact that the British campaign is only 4 missions, that kind of throws me off a little bit. Yeah, what literally happened was I fired my cannons like at like the most opportune time, and I managed to eliminate all the gunners in time and prevent the statue from falling. Which I didn't know you can actually prevent from falling, which surprised the actually level hell to me. Because I was like, oh, that's a scripted thing. No, I just literally prevented the statue from falling. Which threw me off. Just goes to show that games like these still have a good amount of immersion behind them, even if they're relatively old. Why do you think I occasionally still play them? Oh, then I look back, I prevented it from falling early, which is actually good to know. Didn't know I could do that. You might be able to actually prevent it from falling in general. Who knows? This part where I start focusing up and actually pre-firing the frickin' panzers. Over time, as I played this game, I realized how much I actually missed playing games like these. Games where you just, like, there's no microtransactions, no BS DLC you gotta install, unless it's, like, something minor, no, like, outrageously hard difficulty that makes you just want to give up halfway through. Trust me, I've had those moments, and I've played the Souls games. And I've had my fair share of fun playing these games. I will not lie to you. This part I thought was cool. I had to ram the tank into the doors.
Is this the new radio? Good. The observers are in the tower, but this place is crawling with
And this
Germans.
part is some more ground
We'll
combat.
fight our way through, room by room. On your signal.
I also never realized how easy this part was after playing it. Because literally it was just reach and clear, like, every room. And then after that, you're good to go. I was here using the leaning mechanic to see how much mileage I can get out of it. And while it is a good mechanic, it doesn't really help too much. Sometimes it's just best to just go in and start shooting. You see, normally on like Veteran in the Call of Duty series, getting meleeed is the equivalent of just asking someone to kill you instantly.
Take you to the roof. You'll find the observation post on the other side. Good luck.
Kinda also felt that the aiming in this game was rather sluggish for like no apparent reason. But it gets the job done. Can't be too mad at it. I've played games that are worse. I played games where the aiming mechanics are so bad, literally I wonder why they even bother making the game like this.
Thank you. The new radio. I'll take it from here, Lieutenant. That column of German
And
armor
surprise,
is about
surprise,
to move.
that's the end of that
We
mission.
need to relay firing coordinates now. New target, 5-point Bravo. Angle 78 degrees, range 100 meters. Confirm, over.
Confirm. Range 100 meters. Fire incoming. Over.
Yes! Take that! Directing! That armored column is a junkyard now. Thank you, Lieutenant. This has been one hell of a day.
There's another moment of the game being a little bit janky due to the fact that the frame rate being very weird, but hey, it is what it is.
December 24, 1942, Christmas Eve. What we began at Stalingrad, we were to finish as part of Operation Little Saturn on a remote airfield near the small village of Tatsinskaya. Our assignment was to approach the airfield from the north via the River Don, cutting off and encircling the stranded German forces Hitler had forbidden to retreat. There at Tatsinskaya, we would surprise the airfield, destroying as many aircraft as we could, cutting off the resupplying of Nazis in the Stalingrad pocket. This was an assignment I was going to enjoy. But as we were about to spring our attack, the Germans got word we were there and launched a frantic evacuation. We may have missed yelling surprise, but there was still plenty of party to be had.
Your orders are to take control of the enemy airfield near Tatsinskaya to prevent them from resupplying the 6th Army at Stalingrad. This is a critical mission, comrades. Best of luck.
Raven, this is platoon leader. What is your status, over?
Platoon leader, Raven here. Our trucks are in position. We need 10 minutes to set up the rockets. Over.
Hold positions until... Stuka! Stuka! Incoming! We have been spotted! Raven, we cannot wait! Get your rockets in position now! We will take care of those bombers!
Here's the mission that was technically supposed to be where I got the 4th death, but apparently I managed to plow through this without much problem. Also, this is actually one of the longest missions in the group, and the fact that I don't know, I think I just took way too much time running around at some point, but yeah. So the start of it is us having to shoot down some Stukas. Unfortunately, I sucked major balls at doing so, because not only was I not finding my cannon shots, but the machine gun does only does a little bit of damage, just enough to actually, well, try to shoot it down. You have to do some sustained fire on it in order to get the gun out. Can't move on from this objective until all the Stukas are down. And this, the last 3 was the ones that have been screwing me up. Literally, it took me way too long to do them out. Yeah, right there. Like, I'm like, why is my machine gun not hitting me? But I managed to get them all. I can't really say much about this mission, other than the fact that literally this entire moment of the mission was just driving a tank, shooting up some Germans, driving a tank, shooting up more Germans, getting out of the tank, shooting up more Germans, and then getting out of the tank for a little while to take over a specific spot. Area, I'm trying to keep an eye on every single troop that could cause a problem. any Panther stricken troopers going down without a fight, and I do not care. I also gotta find it funny that in the tank segments you have regenerating health, which makes sense because you're gonna get hit a lot, so there's no point in limiting your health for some tanks. Technically, this is, as I said, one of the longest missions for the Eastern campaign, and it's the last one, too. I've always wondered, the previous warehouse with the tank that was stuck, I was wondering what happens if we didn't shoot the Germans. If we just left it be. Would the tank explode or something, or would they get breached and captured? Might be a mission failure if we don't do that. Go that way. I was so confused. I was like, I should be able to just destroy those with the treads, but no. Honestly, to be honest, as I said before, there really wasn't much to say about this mission.
All units, we're pinned down by an anti-tank crew. We can't get through to the airfield until somebody takes them out. From the vehicle, dismount.
This building is crawling with Germans. We need to clear it out.
There's also another part of the game where literally the frame rate wasn't my friend, along with the muzzle flash for all the guns. I'm trying to hit that guy and I'm dead on, but the bullet just won't make contact. Like, that entire spray should have gotten me. Also, you get barely any medkits and only 2 magazines for your PPSH in this mission. So I had to be very careful. That's why I had the PPSH out in the first place, because I didn't want to just blindly go one direction and get shredded. But I managed to get through that perfectly fine. No errors. Didn't need to use any of my grenades either.
She's good as new. Let's go.
At first I was kind of confused. I was like, where's my tank? How do I get back in? What do I do here? Because there's a visible wall there. Can't go over there. I was like, maybe one of my tanks is over here or something. And that's when I realized, oh, it had to give me the objective to get back into my tank. So then I walked over to the tank. And apparently that's it for that mission. For that half of the mission, at least.
Attention, all remaining units regroup at the train depot. We need more tanks.
Here's part 2 of Operation Little Saturn.
Let's go blow up some planes.
Actually, I think I do have some things to say about this mission other than that previous part. It comes at the very end. Also, I kind of find it funny that literally these planes can take a tank shell to the face and then have to get gunned down with a machine gun. I'm like, this is a literal high explosive tank shell, and apparently you just eat that. I may be able to get the entire Western campaign finished in one video, unless it's as hard as people say it is. Because as I said, I've heard some horror stories over on Reddit and other places of people who played the game, and its reputation of being one of the hardest Call of Duties in the entire franchise is apparently not an understatement to be trifled with, based off of how the community treats it. I don't know if there's just troops that have MP40s that literally go prone and try to shoot the tank, and I'm like, what are you trying to hit? It's fully armored. There's no way you're going to kill somebody in there unless your bullet somehow ricochets past the plating and hits somebody. There's just me over there just looking around trying to figure out what the heck hit me. I haven't seen anything. This part was actually kind of, like, wild. You know, back when I was just destroying planes before they could even take off on the runaway. Also, I just realized something. The game looks a lot brighter. I think I mentioned this in the previous segment. The game looks a lot brighter when I was playing it, but it's very dark in the footage. Maybe due to the rendering, but another thing, nothing true. And this is the final bit, the last on-foot segment before we move on to the Western campaign. Which almost freaking ended a disaster, as you'll see soon.
The road is blocked. We have to go on foot from here. From the vehicle, dismount.
Sir, the fascists have barricaded themselves inside the control tower.
Comrade, attack!
I instinctively started to duck here because this is a mini trench and I wanted to make sure to get as much cover as possible. And I was right to doing so because as soon as I round this corner near that rock, there are machine guns. And I don't have a ranged weapon to be able to hit them from that far. There are multiple machine guns, the one where I just needed to find a way to destroy them. I needed to start throwing nades. I had plenty. It didn't hit me. There's gotta be something back here behind this truck. And lo and behold, I was right. As soon as I looked at this one, I saw a Panzer Shrek sitting there along with an extra medkit. I did not even bother picking up the Panzer, the PPSH. In fact, that doesn't give me a lot of ammo for it anyway, and having a rocket launcher is a bad idea in case something else comes by. Plus, I already have the machine gun. Also, another thing that always bothered me that so far from playing is that there are no pistols from what I've seen. I've only seen SMGs, machine guns, rocket launchers, and LMGs, along with rifles. No pistols whatsoever. Also, this mission was way too easy for its own good. Also, for some reason, like, this officer just took so many bullets and just didn't want to die. There we are. This is the end of Operation Little Saturn, and that'll be the end of the Eastern campaign. So just sit back, relax, after I kill this last guy, as I grab the intel, and watch the end cutscene for this campaign. And then we'll move on to the Western,
Look,
where he plays the Brits.
Some heads turn. Let's get back to headquarters.
Nice bonfire you lit up today, comrades. That should keep us warm most of the winter.
By controlling North Africa, the
And that's
Axis
it.
powers would
Completed
have a
that
better
mission.
chance of holding the Mediterranean, now the epicenter of the war. Unfortunately for Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, his army is ill-prepared to withstand the British forces in the region. Hitler, fearful that more losses in Africa would jeopardize his efforts on the Russian front, sends General Rommel and his Africa Corps to clean up the mess. By 1942, the Allies decide that the best way to break the Axis powers back is to create another front. An Operation Torch is born of British and American troops. A well-supported, coordinated push through enemy lines, depleting and destroying fuel, food, and equipment would mean the eventual fall of the Third Reich in Africa, weakening Axis aggression throughout the world. All goes as planned, and by January 1943, British General Montgomery's 8th Army has Rommel and his troops on the run, scrambling to make their valiant last stand at the Mareth Line.